Tell us about the state of the right-of-way to expand fiber optics in the country. I know that you've been working very hard to ensure that that is achieved. How far have you gone in that respect?
Fiber optic is really important for fast internet. It really is the way. In the last 2 to 3 years, the industry has deployed about 40,000 additional kilometers of fiber. And I should explain that there are two kinds of fiber. There is the undersea cable, the fiber that comes from offshore that delivers the internet to the shores of this country. And then there's the terrestrial fiber, which is the one that now takes that internet to different parts of the country. So we've done very well in terms of undersea cable. So we have tremendous capacity that is coming into this country. The challenge that we have right now, what we're working on, is taking that capacity, 10 terabytes of data that is of capacity landed here, and taking that to every single city, town, village in Nigeria. So the industry has done about 40,000 kilometers. And what we're doing right now is trying to increase the pace of deployment. To run fiber optic cable, you need right-of-way because you're going to lay the fiber in the ground. Right-of-way comes from state governments and federal government. We lay it side by side with roads, with rail lines and all of that. So we need to, first of all, procure the right-of-way and also get approval to use that right-of-way. The process for procurement is a bit too long, and we're working with the state governments to bring that time down as quickly as we can. And also, the cost of the right-of-way is actually too high, one of the highest in the world, actually. But again, working with state governments to bring down the cost of right-of-way. And if we do this, two things will happen. First of all, we'll be able to roll out fiber much faster and cover more parts of the country. And second of all, we'll actually make internet access cheaper. Because what happens is that a lot of the companies that are rolling out this fiber are commercial companies. If they are faced with a particular cost from the state or federal government, they will pass that cost on to the customer. So our role as a ministry is to work with the subnational governments, the state government, the local governments, to bring that price down. And this is really what I call enlightened self-interest, because many state governments are rolling out e-government plans. They're using ICTs to deliver taxes, deliver services. And you can't deliver these services unless you have this infrastructure in your state. So we're working with the state governments. The response has been quite good. And hopefully we will get to a point where we'll have fairly ubiquitous internet connectivity.
There is a plan to sell NiComSat. Why that decision?
Well, it's to privatize NiComSat, and we're going to keep a small percentage is going to be kept in government's hand because we do use the satellite for security purposes. The reason being that NiComSat, it was almost a research experiment, not an experiment. It was under the National Space Research Development Agency. It was then created as a project, as a means of actually developing, for Nigerians to get the skills to actually launch a communication satellite into space. So we did that in conjunction with the Chinese government. The satellite was launched. But the next phase now is that this is not just a satellite that's going to sit there and say, we've launched a satellite, this is all very nice. There's a commercial aspect to this particular satellite, because the communication satellite and the way that we communicate with each other, you talked about fiber earlier, but there are many ways in which we deploy telecoms infrastructure. It's fiber, it's radio, it's microwave, and it's also satellite. There's a tremendous opportunity for NiComSat to become a commercial. It was actually set up as a commercially oriented agency. So NiComSat is a PLC. It's got its own board and everything, and it's supposed to operate as a government-owned but commercially oriented company.
What is the government plan for NiPost?
People always ask, oh, NiPost, do they still exist? Nobody posts letters anymore. Everybody does email and social media and Twitter and everything. But NiPost is actually a very important part of our financial and digital inclusion strategy. In terms of, and NiPost is also a very important part of the e-commerce sector as well. So even though people don't post letters, parcels that people buy, things that people buy online must be delivered to their homes. And so NiPost is actually working very closely. About a month or so ago, we launched a partnership with Conga, which was to actually, in the University of Lagos, because students are a very large part of this e-commerce revolution. But when students buy things online, they may be squatting somewhere, or they may get to deliver the parcel and the student is in lectures. So the partnership with Conga is actually, we're going to do it in a number of universities. Unilag was the first, where your parcel is actually delivered to the post office in the university, and you can then pick it up afterwards. But we'll also work, NiPost has the greatest logistics infrastructure. They deliver mail everywhere in Nigeria. They can't say, I'm not going to deliver a mail here because it's too far. They have a universal service obligation. So we're also going to use that logistics platform to support the e-commerce retailers that are doing so well in Nigeria, to actually help them deliver their goods to all over Nigeria. So that's coming, even though the university one has started. In terms of financial inclusion, CBN is a custodian of the financial inclusion strategy. We want to move from about 47% to 20% of Nigerians that are financially excluded. And the way that, and a lot of that will be done through electronic means. So that's the mobile money, mobile financial services. Now, even if you have mobile financial services, there's a point in time where you need physical cash. Either you want to load money onto your phone, or you want to take cash out for whatever reasons. And so NIPOS, we're looking at NIPOS as being what we call a super agent because of the number of NIPOS branches. So if you want some cash, the money is on your phone, but you want to get some cash, you can actually go to a NIPOS branch and take that cash in or cash out. So that's as a super agent to the mobile money industry or mobile financial services sector. The final part of it is actually using NIPOS itself, the infrastructure, to deliver financial services. When the study was done on why are people financially excluded, one of the reasons given was that the proximity of a branch to them, that branch is actually quite far. So it's easier to keep my money under my mattress or somewhere safe in my house than walk all the way to a branch, 15 kilometers to put it there, only to go back there the next day to take it out again. So we've done the business case to see what kind of retail financial services that banks don't offer today are good to offer on the NIPOS platform. We're not going to create a post bank. What we're going to do is actually we're going into partnership with a bank, using the balance sheet of that bank to deliver financial services using the NIPOS infrastructure. Now the business case has been done. We've selected a transaction advisor to help us with that process of selecting the bank or the network operator or whoever it is that's going to work with us to actually deliver these financial services over the NIPOS infrastructure. So what you'll see is that NIPOS is no longer a letter delivering, and that's happening with postal agencies all over the world. We don't see NIPOS as just somebody that delivers letters. We see NIPOS as a key part of this inclusion agenda that this administration has, whether it's in terms of financial inclusion or digital inclusion. Digital inclusion is so important because I know you can't even imagine functioning without your mobile phone or your internet. But there are people in Nigeria today that don't even have connectivity, either to data or to voice. We're using that infrastructure, that NIPOS infrastructure that is in rural areas that we don't even think about to really ensure that we have as many Nigerians as possible included in this development that will be powered by ICTs.
At this point, I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Omobola Johnson, for speaking with us on Channels Television. And that is where we wrap up the program. You may send us your thoughts and comments to the email on your screen and also follow me on Twitter. Thank you for watching and bye for now.